King Leopold of the Belgians caused 13 million Congolese to be killed. Twice the number of the Jews that were killed by Adolf Hitler at Holocaust. But we have forgotten. We Africans have a short memory. But the Jews will never allow you to forget. Never, ever. But we Africans have forgotten. Part of the African problem is short memory, amnesia. Is part of our problem. And that is why we keep on repeating the same mistakes time and over. Colonization is part of the problem that affects Africa. Because after colonization ended, we have another thing called neo-colonization. And it is alive and well. That thing called neo-colonization is alive and well. And if you doubted whether it's alive and well, I want you to see what is happening in Guinea-Conakry. I want you to see what is happening in Niger. I want you to see what is happening in Burkina Faso. I want you to see what is happening in Chad. And I want you to see the arrogance of the French president when he says, my ambassador shall not leave, my bases shall not be removed. At least yesterday he capitulated. The neo-colonial project is alive and well. Did you hear the voice of the church throughout what is happening in Guinea-Bissau? No, the church is silent. The church is complicit. So when you talk about theology and what it can do, sometimes courtesy of theology, because you want to be good, you don't raise your voices. The last time I checked, John the Baptist's voice was alive and well in the wilderness. Where is the voice of the church amidst all this? Africa's problem is also neo-colonization. From slavery to colonization to neo-colonization, which is an ongoing project. And Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah was right in 1965 when he said, the last stage of colonization is neo-colonization, and is alive and well. And we see it. Today, I tell Africans because of neo-colonization, I'll come to what I think theology can do. Today in Africa, here in Nairobi, Kenya, if you want to buy something from a supermarket, you go to Carrefour, which is French. You want to buy fuel, you go to Total Energies or Rubies, which is French. You want to have your pizza, which is made by Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is American. You have it carried by Glovo, which is Spanish. If you want to have security, you have it by G4S, which is British. If you want your home guarded, it's guarded by KK, which is Gardewald from Quebec. If you want to have chicken, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. If you want your airports managed, it's Swissport from Switzerland. That is the state of Africa. Consuming what we do not produce and producing what we do not consume. I'm invited to speak to politicians here in Kenya. And when they have read, they say that all leadership comes from God. I said, no, it's not true. There's so many crooks in leadership in Africa and elsewhere, they could not possibly be coming from God. Then they say, but it's biblical. I said, the book of Romans was written by Paul in the year 1577 to 1508 AD, 57 AD, 58, when he was going to Rome on trial. And some of the things are not inspired. They were informed by the politics of the day. He was softening the rulers in Rome, but it did not help him. When he arrived there, he was arrested, detained, and he was executed. So it is not true that all these things are inspired. And if you read Rome and the book of Romans historically, you'll see that there are things that are Paul's own opinion. And you who are theologians may debate about it. I'm giving you these because I'm now coming to the theology of it. You may now know that there is a committee that is doing the rounds in Kenya, which is collecting views about religion and how religion should be regulated because of an incident called Shakahola. I appeared before them. And during my presentation, I made this statement and the chairman almost jumped out of his seat. I said that the Nicene Creed was a political settlement. He said, that is heretical. He must have said that from his body language. And I said it was political. Then I said, the person said, why? When in 324 AD they invited the 100 or so many bishops in Nicaea, only 80 attended, you theologians know. And how the Nicene Creed then came about, that the Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son, was a battle between Arian and Athanasius. And Athanasius won the day. And even now I told him in the Eastern Orthodox, the philo-key is removed. And you don't say the Spirit proceeds from the Son. It says proceeds from the Father only. It was a political settlement. Then he said, but why are you saying this? I told him, because I'm a Christian of Berea. The Christian of Berea questions. And Paul is him who says in Acts of the Apostle that why he liked the Bereans, when the gospel has been preached to them, they went home and asked, we heard you saying all these things. We are fact checking you. We are fact checking you. Because we now have a theology in Africa particularly and in the world where preachers of the gospel are busy writing little explanatory books about the Bible, and their congregation reads those books rather than the Bible. The joy of many preachers today is that I've written 20 books. Read my books, and they don't say buy my book. They say donate. Deception. Just be right. Say buy my books. And if you ask people whether they have read the Bible, many have not. I did a challenge. I'll not do it here because some of you will fail. I told in a congregation, I want you to recite to me the Lord's Prayer without referring to any book. Out of 10, only 2. Then I said, I want you to tell me the 10 commandments in the order in which they were given. Only 2. Only 2. But say what the pastor has said in his book about the last days, they can memorize everything. In the last days, Matthew 24:24, there shall be many Christs, and they shall mislead many, even the very elect. So the question is, with all these problems facing Africa, education, health, bad governance, and all these things, in Africa we have some of the lowest quality politicians. African countries say that they are democratic, they are kakistocratic. And kakistocracy is a government of the very worst. You are led by your very worst. That is kakistocracy. If you combine that with kleptocracy, which is a government of thieves, then you can see why Africa continues to punch below her weight. In all areas, we continue to do so. So that many Africans have now surrendered. What they are remaining with is prayer and fasting. Africans pray for what they can work for. That is not the divine instruction.